Well, guys, I am so sorry that I just couldn't stream through Restream. It is just insane. It's it's just crazy. So I'm streaming here, and I would love for you guys to comment and let me know that you're here. So this is Relationship Coaching Live, and basically, I have a question to ask you. Okay. Have you ever spaced out so hard during an argument that you started planning your grocery list, your next vacation, and how you're going to escape a zombie apocalypse like all at once? Well, that's not just a mental glitch. That might be just your superpower at work. Well, welcome to Relationship Coaching Live. And today we're flipping the script on dissociation. Let's get weird, wise, and a little woo. So, why this topic? Okay. So, while I was going through my cancer healing journey, I did the treatment, I did the surgery, radiation, chemo. And then after the treatment, I started having disassociation episodes. So, I was like, oh my God, what is happening, right? Dissociation. I said disassociation because that's the Spanish, but it's dissociation. So all of a sudden I'd be like walking somewhere and I would feel like I was in the Matrix, like everything was moving and I was just like, so it was really weird. So I'm like, you know what? I need to do an episode about dissociation because it happens to a lot of people. Okay. And by the way, I don't have any way of putting up the comments or anything, but I will read your comments and I will answer them. So feel free to comment and let me know your experiences. If you ever had any dissociation happening in your life, which is kind of crazy and scary. So let me know your experiences. And by the way, no shame, no stigma, just soul deep inside. Okay. This is what it is about. Okay. So, segment number one, because I divide it in segments and I usually have my segments at the bottom. And I can't do it right now because Restream has decided not to stream my stuff. Awesome. Anyway, and I'm paying them. Yeah, I want my money back. So, segment number one is understanding dissociation. Okay, so what is dissociation? Dissociation is a mental process where a person disconnects from their thoughts, feelings, memories, or even the sense of identity. And there's different forms, right? There's depersonalization, derealization, amnesia, absorption. Okay, so those are different forms. Also, I think I had the depersonalization where I was almost like felt like an outsider watching my life go by, and it was just certain moments. It wasn't like all the time. So let me know again in the comments if you had any type of dissociation happening in your life. I am interested to know. Um, so a lot of people think, well, you know, it's just for trauma survivors, right? Dissociation, which in my case, it was every time I had trauma, I would dissociate. But um, I think that that happens sometimes also when we're like in our own thoughts, dissociate. But um, I think that that happens sometimes also when we're like in our own thoughts or we're not connected to other people or to reality. And it does happen. So you don't need trauma to have that. Okay. You don't need a mental breakdown to have dissociation. And actually, you know what? No shame. Why? Because it's more common than we think, from athletes to creatives to trauma survivors. And the scientific backup, what is the scientific backup? Okay. Apparently mention, there's studies that showing mild dissociation is linked to resilience during stress. Oh my God, you guys, let's discuss this. And please feel free to comment and let me know your experiences, or if you have questions or if you have comments, if you can add to the conversation. I would love that. So studies show mild dissociation that are linked to resilience during stress. That's exactly what happened to me during my cancer healing journey. During the treatment, I was like of course I had moments where I would cry and whatever, or be mad, but I was just like focused on my healing. I was like, I'm going to heal. I'm going to get to that point where I am cancer free. And that resilience on the stress, because it was very stressful to go under treatment, but it was almost like, not that I was in denial, but that was just like almost like so laser focused on my healing that I didn't have time for dissociation. I didn't have time for anxiety. I didn't have time for depression. So after treatment, that's when the dissociation started happening, because I had been so strong during all that time that all of a sudden my body and my mind were like, you know what? You're allowed to dissociate. Okay. Can you guys hear me, by the way? Can you guys hear me okay? Let me know in the comments, because here, I don't know, it shows like it's not connected to the microphone. I don't know. It's so weird. I've been having so many problems, you guys, with streaming. It's insane. I might just do recordings, but I love talking to you guys. So that's why I do streams. So there is a link to the brain's default mode network and protective neurological mechanisms. Okay. So let me actually double check and see. Can you guys tell me if you can hear me? Let me actually double check on my here. Apparently, let me see if it's showing. Okay. Okay, yes. Okay. So I am being heard. Woo! Yay. That's awesome. Okay. We love being heard when we talk, right? So I think that there are protective mechanisms in our brain that block any type of dissociation while we're having to be strong. And then all of a sudden it feels like you relax in a way. You're like, okay, the struggle is over. And now I can go ahead and go crazy. Like I can have anxiety, I can have dissociation, I can have a depression. So anytime we go through trauma, right, we survive it. We have this mechanism inside us that we survive all of this. And it is incredible to me to see how strong and powerful that we are. Uh, Sometimes your brain leaves the chat. And you know why? So your heart doesn't break. That's not dysfunction. That's divine design. So it is so overpowering that your brain is like, I have to go because I can't handle this anymore and my heart is going to explode. So it is, in a way, a defense mechanism. It really is. So I'm going to put in the comments, you guys, feel free to comment about your experiences. Okay. Let me put it here with dissociation. So I'm going to put it here. It's an invitation for you guys to go ahead and comment. Let me know your experiences. Okay, let's go to segment number 2. The unexpected benefits of dissociation. All right. So you have this emotional buffering. So what we do, what is that emotional buffering? We temporarily distance from pain or from being overwhelmed. So that's the body's mechanism. Dissociation, it's actually, in my opinion, a superpower. A lot of people think, oh my God, I'm dissociating, I'm mentally screwed up. No, no, no. You're fine. You are actually protecting yourself, your soul, your body, your spirit. So it is an emotional buffering. We distance from pain or overwhelm. Now there's high functioning dissociation. For example, emergency responders, right? You have to dissociate because imagine having empathy, which if you're an empathetic person, for every person that you treat like a doctor, okay? You treat all these people, especially oncologists, you guys. I am telling you, I don't know if I could be an oncologist because There's so much just telling the person they have a cancer. Just, some people it's like you're not going to make it or whatever it is. And so doctors, in my opinion, a lot of them have high functioning dissociation. And that's their way that they defend themselves from all this, feelings that can actually upset you. Actors actually use it under pressure. They do. So dissociative, dissociative, that's in Spanish, dissociativo, dissociative flow states in art, sports, and performance. Also, if you're an athlete, I used to be an athlete, right? So you have to kind of dissociate because like if you're on doing a race, like you're running or you're swimming in a competition, a contest, or whatever, you have to be like, I'm going to do this regardless. The people that climb Everest, oh my God, you have to dissociate. Can you imagine if you start thinking about, you see the unalived bodies on the side while you're climbing Everest? I mean, I would be like, forget this. Yeah, I wouldn't do it. So, but if you want to really climb Mount Everest, you're going to have to dissociate, period. That's going to be it. I used to dissociate. Okay, here's a fan story, by the way. And she says, I used to dissociate during family fights. Ooh, yes. And I thought I was broken, but I realized it helped me stay calm and later become a therapist for people who felt unsafe. Oh my God, absolutely. Yes. Fights, if you get into it, your blood pressure goes up, you like get super upset. And so you have to dissociate at some point, right? Because it's too much. Or if you have a family member who's a sociopath or a psychopath and they're targeting you, you have to dissociate at some point, right? And it is a superpower because if you really feel all the feels at that moment when you're going through that stressful situation, then you can explode. You can have a heart attack, right? So dissociation is really allowing us to step aside, like our soul and body step aside and wait until the storm ends. And then it's like, oh, now I'm feeling all the feels. So, and also you dissociate after an experience, after trauma. So you can do it during or after. It doesn't matter. And again, to me, it's a superpower. So learn to notice when you are dissociating and why. Use journaling or grounding after. Grounding is a wonderful thing that you can do. And I've done it many, many times. You can actually, it's scientific, it's been proven it helps. You can actually go barefoot on grass, on the sand, and that electromagnetic energy from the earth will recharge you and ground you. Okay, that's one of the ways. Another way is the water also. Like I teach swimming and I love being in the water. There's something about water that grounds you, I think. I don't know why. I'm sure there's a scientific reason for that. All right, you guys. Sorry again about not having all the typical things that I have, but I decided to go live after Restream totally failed. These streaming services are not good. I don't know what's happening. I am not lucky. No luck. I don't know why. Anyway, segment number 3. We're still here and we're doing this. Dissociation in art, culture, and daily life. So, Moon Knight, this is like a pop culture thing. Moon Knight, Severance, Fight Club all explore dissociation artistically, which is a great idea. I love that, right? Um, so let me see. Okay. Um, Artists and musicians, daydreaming and altered states of consciousness often enhance creativity. I wouldn't recommend using substances to do that. You can actually get yourself in that altered state of consciousness so you get more creative and you get that altered state where you can access almost like dimensions or parts of the quantum field that when you're more conscious and when you're more grounded, you can't. So that dissociation from reality to another state of consciousness is amazing. And you can do it yourself. Again, you don't need substances for that. By the way, please comment and ask questions if you have any. I'd love to interact with you guys, and I can see your comments. And anyway, so let's keep going. Uh, how about real life uses of dissociation? Well, you can use it in stage fright, right? I used to do that. When I used to go on the stage in the beginning for stand up, it was not a good dissociation because in the beginning, my critic would be the guy that would be like, "You suck. You're not good. Shut up. Get off the stage." But then, after years of doing stand up, I learned to have a quote unquote character, which is my way of dissociating from being there as myself, right? So if you consider yourself a character, anybody that heckles you or if you don't do well on a set, it's not really you. It is an alternate, whatever reality that you create, right? So, stage fright during arguments, you can dissociate, right? Because if you dissociate, you become more objective. When you have a lot of emotion in an argument, I don't know about you guys, but I find when I get emotional in an argument, I kind of lose footing because I get all like I stutter and I like it. You're trying to get the argument and your brain is kind of like foggy because you're so upset that your emotions take over. So yeah, dissociating during an argument, fantastic. You can win it. And also, a lot of people dissociate in overwhelming social settings, and especially if you have stuff like things like xenophobia, or you just are not a very social person, and you feel weird about being social at a party. You dissociate, right? And that's okay. That's the way it is. Again, in my opinion, it's a superpower. Okay. I personally dissociated during chemo treatments. And what I did is I cranked up the music with my headphones and I imagined myself in like the beach and being able to do all the things that I wasn't able to do during chemo, which was terrible on my health, right? And I came back to the room, the chemo room, the infusion room, feeling lighter. Was it delusion? Maybe. I don't know. Was it effective? Yes, absolutely. So dissociation is just your soul putting up a velvet rope and saying, no bad vibes beyond this point. That's a superpower. Segment number 4. Like I said, I always have like a little thing at the bottom saying segment number 4. And this one is dissociation versus meditation. Now, meditation and altered states overlap with dissociation because detaching from the body and having an experience that feels almost in another dimension, observing your thoughts. Now, that is a form of dissociation, right? There are cultural roots to this. Shamanic journeys, spiritual trances, right? If you're in a trance, you're really dissociating. Mystics have embraced dissociative states for centuries. The difference is they have intent and grounding. So they have some plan. This is not like after trauma or doing it because it's too much, but they do it to access parts of us that we do not access when we're more conscious, and an altered state of consciousness allows you to do that. That's why spiritual people, monks and everything, mystics, embrace dissociative states. So there's a lot of scientific um you know things that we can talk about, like overlap in brain waves, right? Theta and delta states. So there could be an overlap. So you can be here in this reality and then also away from it, right? Um, and the reference for this, if you guys want to check it out, is Stanford study on mindfulness versus depersonalization. So, this is my tip, you guys. Try a short meditation exercise. Imagine your mind floating like a balloon and gently returning to your breath. So, just that also meditation, by the way, if you are having a lot of stress or anxiety, if you just deep breathe for in, for hold, and for out, you do that 3 or 4 times, and you imagine yourself floating, or you imagine yourself, you access your third eye. You can actually access your third eye. We just never were taught how to do it. And you just go, if you have an issue, like when I have an issue, I access my third eye. I breathe and then I put my energy here like this. And I am able to um, reach an altered state of consciousness where I don't even plan or think about things, and things start popping and I get answers for what I'm going through. And then I return to my breath and come back. But I'm always here. So there's an like a double, vibration, mental brain waves, right? Anyway, okay. I'm keeping this short today because I don't even know if you guys can access this, because the way I promoted it was with another link that didn't work. And definitely Restream is going to get a call from me because it sucks even more than StreamYard. So I don't even know, guys, what to do. It's driving me nuts. I might just stream on YouTube, period, right? This is fun. I like it. So anyway, um, let's go to segment number 5, the ethical and mental health side. When dissociation becomes distressing, okay, it can become distressing when you have chronic derealization, right? When you are constantly dissociated, or you do that very often, right? Let's not romanticize severe dissociation. You definitely need to seek help if it interferes with your daily life. Again, it will happen sometimes after a traumatic experience and you don't even plan it. That's one way, right? It's just going to happen. When that happens, what I do is I take a deep breath and I'm like, I'm safe. I am okay. And it kind of brings me back and grounds me back into reality, right? Now, you can do it on purpose. People that meditate, mystics, they do dissociate on purpose, but they have a plan, right? They dissociate and come back and ground themselves. So again, if you have severe dissociation, please seek help. And it's very important to seek therapy, somatic work, and grounding practices. I have a fan story here, okay? Uh, he said, I realized I was checking out of my marriage emotionally. How many times have we done that? We're in a relationship and we know it's over, but we don't have the guts to break up, and we totally dissociate, right? And emotionally, like you're not feeling anything anymore. And it's not that you don't love the person, you just dissociating yourself. And he's saying, excuse me, therapy helped me reconnect with my body and my voice. And of course, I always have sirens going by because I am in a very busy area and it's mandatory, baby. So you hear them? Fun times. Anyway, here's my tip for you. Okay. Use dissociation as a floaty, not a boat. It keeps you up, but you still got to swim to shore. All right. This is our last segment, and it's segment number 6, harnessing the power. Recognize your dissociative tendencies. I read it right, right? Dissociative. Okay. What triggers them? when are you dissociating? Like after my treatment, I was like, why am I dissociating? Like it's so weird. It was like the Matrix, like everything went, and even the ground felt like it moved. It was crazy. My dissociations were wild. And then I realized, oh my God, it's when I don't feel safe, when I don't feel grounded, and especially when I go to a doctor's office. I feel like when I'm like walking down the hall to get to their office, I feel like seriously the Matrix, like the time changed, the feeling of time, the feeling of space changes. So just maybe write a journal. That's what I do. I wrote actually when wrote down when do I have these episodes, okay? And then my oncologist told me that's very common among cancer survivors. Why didn't you tell me that earlier? All right. When you go through cancer, and a lot of doctors, when you go through any traumatic health experience, they never tell you about what happens after. Dissociation might be one of the things that happens. So that's why I wanted to do this episode. So turn them into tools. Turn dissociation into tools. Visualization, intentional dreaming, safe retreats, right? Just turn them into a tool. Now, once that you have that power, let me tell you, once I have that power to dissociate, I started actually being able to access my third eye and like just have an experience of being in another dimension, which we do when we sleep anyway, right? We just go to another dimension. That's all it is. We're traveling. Our soul is traveling. We're still connected here with, it's called the silver cord, right? We're still connected, but that's what happens. So practice reentry, okay? If you feel that dissociation coming out of the blue, it's like a panic attack. Dissociation is the same thing. It's just out of the blue. So once you know why they're happening and what's triggering them, because you journaled and you figured it out because you're smart, then practice reentry. Okay, how can I get myself out of that state that's really scary because time and space just completely change? You gently ground yourself with exercises like touch, looking at, like I do, okay, how many green things do I have here in this room? Um, Music is really good. If you listen to HZ, like 432 and 528 are my favorite frequencies. They really ground you. They just bring you back, okay? Now, this is my empowerment dissociation tips. Have a comeback kit, okay? Like essential oils, soft music, grounding affirmations. Use dissociation for creative projects, to write, to paint, to design when you're in a flow state. So you get yourself back, right? But also use that state of being, since you're dissociating, use it to create and reframe it. Just say, I'm not zoning out, I'm going to zone in to something sacred. And you watch. This will help you. By the way, I'm going to have a free guide that I'm going to put in the pinned comment in about an hour about everything that we talked here, with tips and with examples of other people going through it. I mean, I have done, by the way, the State of Grace shop. I'm going to put it here. You can get free guides, okay? And you can get also some of my books, okay? And it's really good. Okay. So I'm putting it there. So please feel free to comment on anything that your experiences about dissociation, whether it's now during the live or after the live. Here's a Graceism. My name is Grace, by the way. I know I don't have like all the stuff because, again, my streaming service sucks. So your ability to check out doesn't mean you're broken. It means you're beautifully complex, like a psychic ninja in stilettos. All right. So, final thoughts, you guys. Dissociation is not the enemy, it's information. Remember that. When embraced and balanced, it can be a tool of healing, resilience, and even brilliance. You have permission to use what your mind gives you, lovingly and responsibly. DM your dissociation superpower story. I can share it next time. And sign up for my coaching newsletter and book a session. I give you 30 minutes free if you DM me on Instagram. The State of Grace Fraga is my Instagram. Follow me first and then DM me, and I'll give you 30 minutes off free relationship coaching. I'm a relationship coach. It's not saying here. I'm gonna have like signs in the back or something saying, "I'm Grace Fraga, relationship coach." So we're gonna number one. I'm just gonna do it the old gorilla style. So you can actually get this off my chest. And breaking free for healing inspiration. I have again free guides, and I have lots of books. All right, my loves. Thank you for being here. I love you. Stay cool. Stay associated. And when you dissociate, create, ground yourself, and get the information of what your soul and body are trying to tell you. Till next time.